is an Unspoiled Network podcast.
This is Unspoiled, covering Harry Potter, the Rereading, Prisoner of Azkaban, Chapters 8 and 9, Flight of the Fat Lady, and Grim Defeat. In these chapters, Sirius breaks into Hogwarts, and he slices up the Fat Lady. No! And Harry's poor broom gets busted. No! Everything's terrible. Welcome to Unspoiled. Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm Natasha.
I'm RoShawn.
And we are rereading after RoShawn was the unspoiled one on the first go-around. And I have a little bit of an announcement to make. RoShawn, can I go ahead and make this announcement here?
You can go ahead and make any announcement you'd like.
So, everybody, RoShawn and I have been talking because there's other stuff that we want to cover. But recording 3 times a week is a little hard for her because, you know, she's like got a life and shit. Allegedly. And
I'm sorry.
And we really want to do Westworld, which I had said that we were going to do in the new year. I said this before RoShawn started recording 3 times a week for Game of Thrones and realized that's really not going to work for her. So what we've decided to do is after Prisoner of Azkaban is completed, the reread, we are going to take a break, cover Westworld together on a separate feed, obviously. And then when we come back to the reread, the remaining 4 books will be patrons only. I can hear you shrieking from here. Calm down. Just become a patron. That's all you need to do. $1 a month. You'll be fine. You'll be calm down. Listen. Okay. This was this was a decision that we had to mull over for a little while. But we both think that this is going to be smarter and better for the show in the long run. And, you know, it's really important to me for keeping Unspoiled fresh that I cover new stuff. And RoShawn is like one of my very favorite people to cover stuff with. So if I can make room to do more shows with her about other topics, then I'm going to do it. And I think most of you can appreciate that. Because I know a lot of you had wanted me to do something else with RoShawn. People have asked, like, every time that I say I want to cover anything, mostly people are like, is RoShawn going to co-host on that? And I'm like, holy shit, she can't do it all, guys. If I could pay her to be my full-time co-host on everything, do you not think I would do that? I would totally do that. But I have to make it work for her within her schedule. And, you know, there have to be changes and allowances made. So I hope that y'all can understand that. I hope that y'all don't want to cry. And if you do want to cry, maybe that is an indication that it's worth $1 a month to you. You know? That's all I'm saying, is just maybe like look at that and like think about it. So that's the main announcement. And I will also be putting this information out in a newsletter because I had been meaning to write a newsletter for ages, but because of the changes to what we had planned on doing for I keep wanting to say Wizarding World, Westworld. That information was no longer going to be accurate, and I didn't have a plan in place for what it would be, so I was putting off doing that. So, yeah, I just wanted to let you all know about that and give you ample time, ample warning, because we're not even halfway through Azkaban at this point, and we're doing the book only 2 chapters at a time, so y'all have got a couple of months before you have to worry about this. You'll still have content coming up. But, you know, I just wanted to just wanted to tell you. I wanted to, that I have to do things that are sometimes hard for me. RoShawn had initially thought that the entire reread was going to be for patrons only, and was really surprised when I was putting it on my main feed. She was like, really? Because you might just want to. And I was like, no.
Look, I'm trying to get you to a place where you can afford to hire me full time.
Right. Like, this is true. Genuinely, like, that is the ideal situation, is that I can hire RoShawn for what she's making hourly now, plus compensate her for what she'd be paying in insurance and a 401k and whatever. And, on that note, I have no new patrons to greet this week. So, it feels like we made this decision before I realized that we didn't have any more new patrons. And then when I looked, I was like, oh shit, welp, seems like we made the right decision on that one. But we do have a couple of new donors. So I want to thank Lexi, Jennifer, and Karcha, who all donated to the GoFundMe for the trip to Wizarding World. Thank you guys so much. If you're interested in donating, that's gofundme.com/unspoiledhpworld. And donating to that will get you a link to the Dropbox for the coverage of the movies that I did with RoShawn. But yeah, so this is a big change for me. It's a little bit of a risk for me because I am risking pissing a lot of people off with this, but I hope that you guys appreciate that we did the whole first read through completely free for anyone. We did the whole first half almost of the reread completely free for anyone. So I feel like this is pretty reasonable, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm not your average podcast where this is just a side hobby for me. This is my whole life. So I have to be a little bit more stringent about what I saw. There's a couple podcasts that have patron goals. Like when they have a certain number of people, they'll record a special episode, but then they post that special episode to their main iTunes feed and everybody can listen to it. Even though what gets them to that goal is patrons.
Yeah.
Which I find curious, and I think that's a cool idea, but it's just not something that's realistic for me in the position that I'm in,
Right.
So I just hope everybody can bear with me on that
I hope
and understand.
so too. And yeah, guys, I'm a delicate flower. Yeah,
I mean,
I feel
a lot. I don't think people realize how much it is to do this. I have a lot of people who come at me and are interested in starting their own podcast, and then they get back to me and they're like, oh, okay, so hi, thank you for doing what you do. This is so much harder than I expected. Oh my God. I wasn't ready for this at all. And I'm like, yeah, it's a harder thing to really get across, the amount of energy that it takes. And I'm an extrovert, so I feel more energized sometimes after I'm done. But RoShawn's the opposite of me. Doing this it's a output of energy for you that you then have to recharge from, I feel like, right?
That is accurate.
So,
yeah.
Gotta siphon that back in somewhere. So yeah. And also, sorry.
I was going to say, I'm sure everybody will understand though, because our listeners are fabulous.
Wait, I really do have the best listeners. I do.
Yeah.
So guys, if you're interested in becoming a patron and getting access to that stuff, like I said, you really don't have to worry about it for months. But if you want to get a jump on that, it's patreon.com/unspoiled. And like I said, any amount, $1, $20, you'll get access to those patrons only reread shows. Which I, again, considered putting them at $5 or above tier. But I am a merciful, I am a benevolent ruler. And also, I wanted to let people know, because I have still been getting a lot of emails from the year ago when I started to do networked shows, of people being like, hey, I heard that you don't want to do networked shows, and then pitching me their idea, guys, I'm serious about it. I don't want to do any more network shows. I appreciate your enthusiasm and your interest and you taking the time to email me. I frankly don't have the time to email back everybody who sends me the reason that I said I'm not interested is so that y'all wouldn't waste your time writing the email to me in the first place, because I'm not going to do it. Like, I am very cautious about who I involve in Unspoiled and hand select people that I know and have gotten to know on a personal level, and just some stranger that I don't have any experience interacting with, that's just not going to happen. So I hope that y'all understand that. Again, I really appreciate your enthusiasm, but it's going to be a long time before I bring on another network show, if I ever do. So those are my announcements this week, I think. All right. We're done with housekeeping. Do you want to get into this book?
Let's get into it.
So, Chapter 8, Flight of the Fat Lady. I really enjoyed this chapter for an unexpected reason this time, I think. I forget that the fat lady, like, takes her job way more seriously than you necessarily have to in her position. So there's something about, like, you know, my little OCD self that really likes the fact that she's pretty strict about this, and the reason that she winds up getting injured here is he threatens her with a knife and she's just like, whatever, no. And still doesn't let him in, which is frankly just kind of badass, so good for you.
Well, I was wondering as I was reading it, like, can you hurt a portrait? I don't know what the rules are here, people. So, I mean, like,
when Peeves says something about it, he says she doesn't want to show her face because she is ashamed, like she got cut up.
He says she looks a mess.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that, like, you know, her portrait is slashed. So when she runs off, but takes the damaged part of her portrait with her.
I'm not sure taking that wording makes it sound like I feel like the like she's carrying scraps of fabric with her.
No.
I feel like it's like she sustains damage to her person in a magical sense.
Okay.
Like that her appearance reflects what she'd look like if she were still in her portrait.
Yes, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Not that she was carrying around tattered pieces of the portrait and like, look what he did to me. But also it made me think, and I know this is how it is, but it made me think that, like, so you could just cut a person out of their portrait.
I mean, and I guess, yeah, if you want to be real cruel.
Right?
He's a cruel man, that's Sirius Black.
So she gets away without letting him in, which is pretty admirable.
Mm-hmm.
But
more
then
than Neville manages. Sorry, Neville, threw you under the bus for a second there. Later on, though.
Poor Neville. And then they get fucking, what's his name? Sir
Peeves?
what?
Oh,
well,
Sir Cadogan.
Yeah, so he makes an appearance again.
Yes.
Oh, he's the worst.
So this chapter starts off with the minutia of day-to-day classes. Defense Against the Dark Arts has become everybody's favorite class, which is clearly driving Snape insane.
Yes. Everybody loves the class except Malfoy
and
his friends, because I don't even think he knows why. He's saying it's because Lupin is so tattered looking and disreputable and all that, but I don't even think in his heart Malfoy even understands why he dislikes Lupin so much.
Yeah, I feel like it's just like such an ingrained classism that it's like imperceptible. And also, not just the fact that everybody loves this class, but Snape was made fun of specifically.
Oh my God.
Because he was in Neville's grandma's outfit. So that probably feeds into his being super cranky also.
That's true. You know, it's funny. I don't remember it. There's no Malfoy reaction to the Snape Bogart, is there?
You keep saying Bogart like Humphrey Bogart, and it's throwing me off.
Is it Bogart?
Boggart, yeah.
Boggart? I don't
It's
like
two
that.
G's, so it's a short vowel sound.
I guess it is. The Boggart. Ugh, I don't care for it.
Because it lives in a bog. Not really. It doesn't. It lives in dark space.
If you had not said not really, that shit would have been canon for me. Do you hear me? I would have taken that to the fucking grave. I would have been in a bar somewhere going, oh, it's called a Boggart because it lives in a bog.
We should have like a Harry Potter, like basically the game that we played with Miles with Game of Thrones, where I like say some like two true things and then a fake thing, and you have to figure out which one's the fake thing. God. And have it just be on really obscure shit too. Maybe like for the last episode of the show before we go to patrons only, we can do like a question answer session and like a little game. Why
do you want to humiliate me like that in front of all of our dear, dear friends?
I feel like question asked, question answered, right? Like that's its own reward, really. And I mean, maybe you could ask me some questions and try and trick me too.
Oh, now you're talking. Now you're talking.
But yeah, guys, let me know if that is of interest to you, having a little like Q&A before we wrap up, and doing a little game to try and trip up RoShawn.
It's going to be the easiest game ever. Trying to trip me up. Takes like zero effort.
So on the other end of the spectrum, from the awesome defense classes, is Care of Magical Creatures, which I'm not sure it's actually on the other end of the spectrum. Potions is probably all the way on the other end, but Magical Creatures is right towards the bottom there, where it's no fun.
Yeah, it's not as torturous as Potions, but it is boring as fuck.
And probably just kind of depressing, right? Because, like, Hagrid's just lost confidence and is probably a bummer.
Yeah, especially for the kids who give a fuck about Hagrid. I mean, the rest of the class might not care either way, but for Ron and Hermione and Harry, I'm sure it's really hard to see him so dejected, so kind of, like, defeated. Especially after how excited he was that first class.
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, because you said, especially for the kids who give a shit about Hagrid, and what I was thinking was, especially for the kids who give a shit about the subject.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, if you really are into this and want to learn about this, and you think you're getting a teacher who's, like, very passionate about it, and then they wind up doing this, how much of a bummer is that?
That's a really good point. I didn't even think of that. But yeah, it's a subject like any other. There's bound to be kids who are interested in it. So they're just dealing with worms for what seems like forever.
The way that you phrased that made it sound like the whole class had gotten some sort of food poisoning parasite. They're all dealing with worms. It's rough. Something with the fucking house elves went terribly wrong. So the one thing that's kind of like helping Harry get through this like rough patch with, having one class that he enjoys, Care of Magical Creatures, boring, Potions, awful, and Divination, just fucking annoying.
Yeah, and getting worse now because the little cult of Trelawney has formed. And so now Harry has like a little pack of girls that are like whispering every time he comes around and practically tearing up like he's going to drop dead any minute right in front of him.
I wish like this is something that the movies had gotten across a little bit better. Like it's not necessary at all, but like I said, they made Trelawney a lot more sympathetic, and I would have loved to just see this reflected, this like obsessive group clique that she sort of creates.
And it's so great because Harry has to suffer through the class, but then this little group follows him around like all day from class to class. So there's like no respite from it. And you have to imagine that Trelawney inspires this type of clique every year. Every grade that comes through has at least 2 or 3 girls in it that do this thing. It was Lavender and Parvati, maybe? I forget who the other one is.
Yeah, Parvati.
You know, this is something that happens every year. I had a teacher in high school that was like this in the sense that she had a group of girls that were like her girls, you know?
Yeah.
Like would eat lunch in her classroom, and and every year, like I would watch them come and go. I didn't have her till my senior year, but I would watch the crew like come and go, and there'd be a new clique of like 3 or 4 girls.
Okay.
Yeah, some teachers are just like kind of like that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you can tell that this is just how Trelawney gets down every year.
Because she can tell that they have the clarity of the inner eye.
Exactly.
Oh my God, it's so annoying. I love the detail that they'll like have their lunches with her, and then they will come downstairs looking annoyingly superior.
Oh my God.
Like they know things that other people don't. Oh, it's so perfect. So then Harry gets a little bit of a respite, and that Quidditch time begins. And poor Oliver Wood is about to have a nervous breakdown.
Oh my God.
That he hasn't won yet.
Yeah.
And this is the last year that he has a chance.
Yeah. He is all kinds of hyped up.
Oh my God.
He is all fired up, and he's giving this great speech, you know, about how good the team is and how they should have won the last 2 years, and but this is it. They're gonna do it this year. And the team is like getting into it a little bit though. Even Fred and George are like, yeah, we can win. Why not?
I love when he's like, we have great beaters. We have amazing chasers. Harry has never lost a match for us yet. Oh, and there's me. And they're like, we think you're very good too, Oliver. Like, they have to just like, oh, bless him. So yeah, he's getting into the, I'm about to say rehearsals because I am not a sports player. They're practicing.
You don't follow the sports ball?
The sports balls. And meanwhile, there's some shit going down with Hermione and Ron and their pets.
I cannot believe that I did not get this the first time. Clearly, Crookshanks knows something is up with this fucking rat.
That's the great thing about rereading is that in retrospect, you're like, it's right there. But there's really no reason for you to ever think this. Like, don't blame yourself.
Yeah. This is a gorgeous illustration of Crookshanks,
yeah.
too. And even Wormtail, who is horrendous in the movie. But this little Scabbers here is kind of cute.
Yeah.
He looks so terrified.
You can practically hear him going, no! Yeah, Wormtail in the movies looks like he's like diseased or something.
He's
like
so nasty. Like, he didn't have to be that gross.
No, they did extra.
They did not have to do all that. It was really over the top. It was so disgusting. Ugh. Sorry, it's so bad. Like, it's legit disturbing. Like, it's upsetting. Oh, it's so bad. Like,
I love that you're still like thinking about it.
It's like Wormtail is more upsetting than the main evil guy of this whole series. You know, like I couldn't look at Wormtail directly on the screen. Voldemort, I'm like, yeah, okay. No,
whatever.
He doesn't have a nose.
Big deal.
No, everybody doesn't have a nose. It's okay. It's a thing that happens sometimes. You don't have a nose. But Wormtail, Jesus Christ, I couldn't. Oh, anyway, sorry.
That's her disapproving voice, everyone.
He's all scabby for no reason. All right,
we need to not talk about this anymore. I'm cutting you off.
Yeah,
okay.
Stop me now.
So Scabbers and Crookshanks are doing their thing. Ron and Hermione are like fighting about it because she doesn't seem to care about Scabbers. Meanwhile, he's faulting her cat for doing a cat thing. But he isn't wrong either about being like, he heard me say that Scabbers was in my bag, which we find out later that this cat is part Kneasel and is probably listening to what he says. Probably. And then we get this Hermione the Skeptic thing where she is in line for lunch and Lavender Brown is crying.
So I love Hermione, right? We all love Hermione. Who doesn't love her?
But
this is so unnecessary.
There is a time and place, Hermione. She's over here doing 20 questions to this girl who's crying over her dead pet. Trying to be like, I'm going to disprove this bullshit theory of yours. I don't give a shit about your grief. Oh my God. Have some sensitivity, lady.
And she seems like genuinely surprised and shocked that nobody appreciates her logic in this moment.
Yeah.
Like, I'm only just, pointing out blah, blah, blah. Like, nobody asked you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's getting all, well, think about it logically. Why? Why should we?
This is why only Ron and Harry are your friends, Hermione. This is the shit right here.
That was low. That was mean. You just almost did a Ron from like the first book.
Well,
no wonder she doesn't got any friends.
This second reread, I am much more sympathetic to Ron.
Aw. That's almost sweet. Except I don't agree with you, but that's fine. So yeah, she has this little like trying to I'm gonna debunk this shit. And everybody's like
she's a truther.
Oh my God, she's a Trelawney truther. Oh, that's stupid. I love it. Oh God, I'm like thinking like trying to come up with an equivalent of like fiend fire won't melt steel beams, but I can't come up with anything that's like equivalent. You know about those like Stevie Wonder truthers that think he's really not blind?
Only in meme form. I don't know. I didn't know people really thought that.
There's a couple people I've seen that. Like,
oh my God.
They act like they're joking, and I'm pretty sure they're serious. You know how people do that?
Yes.
They're like, wouldn't it be funny if this were true, though? And you're looking at them like,
You believe that shit, don't you?
Yeah, you do, you dummy.
So
yeah,
wait.
Trelawney doesn't need those glasses.
Oh my God.
I keep having to move my mic back because I'm like blowing out my sound here when I laugh. Oh, sorry guys.
Oh my God.
So Ron convinces Harry to ask McGonagall if she will give him permission to go to Hogsmeade. Unsurprisingly,
yeah,
she is not interested in doing this for him because, one, it's against the rules and against policy, and she's not a guardian, and two, Sirius Black is after him.
Yeah.
She hasn't, like, told him yet here, but, it's on her mind, clearly, when she makes this decision.
Right. I feel like that probably is the overwhelming reason why she says no. I
think you're probably right.
Yeah, it's against the rules, but we've seen her bend the rules before. If it, this is mostly about her being concerned for his well-being with Sirius on the loose. But because she hasn't told him yet, she has to, policy, even though I did like put you on the Quidditch team your first fucking year. All of a sudden I'm a stickler.
Yeah, and even though like later on she's like, I really don't think you should go to Quidditch because it's dangerous, and he's like, but the cup, and she's like, you make a solid point.
Exactly.
Immediately backtracking on what she said.
Like, oh, we'll just get a teacher to escort you to the pitch. But you could have got a teacher to escort him to Hogsmeade too, but that didn't come up.
Oh shit!
But
nobody wants to accompany a couple of kids on their like outing. And do you think that Harry would actually want to take her up on that if she offered it to be like a chaperone? Do you think he'd do it? Isn't like half the fun being away from school and away from teachers?
You're probably right. To tell you the truth, I kind of low-key thought they were chaperones anyway. even before I made that joke.
You've read this, you know.
I know.
What are you talking about, RoShawn? Do you need to see somebody and get a little CAT scan or something?
I know the teachers don't go like with them, like to store and everything like that. But I just kind of in my heart feel like, well, there's some teachers around. Surely there must be some teachers around.
I mean, it's not like there aren't, because Harry definitely hides under a table and listens to teachers talking.
Yeah, but they're out doing their own thing, though. They're not in any kind of chaperone capacity whatsoever.
No.
So, but to your point, I think Harry would have gone with a chaperone. I think that's how desperate he was to go.
I mean, but like,
I don't know.
Then you're cramping your friend's style.
My next sentence was going to be, but I don't know if anybody would have hung out with him.
Yeah, right? Like, it's just going to be him and Flitwick, like, hanging out, looking at each other, trying to make awkward conversation, drinking butterbeer.
That's exactly what it would be.
It'd be super weird. Yeah, I feel like Hermione and Ron would be like, so, oh geez, we had an appointment to see somebody at, gotta go. Darndest thing. Totally ditch him. So, she does not allow him to do this. Harry's super bummed. And then we have, the morning of their trip. They all leave and promise to bring him tons of candy.
Yeah.
He has to, like, avoid Colin Creevey and pretends to go to the library, gets a little bit harassed by Filch, and then gets stopped by Lupin, who's like, what the hell are you doing here? Why aren't you out in Hogsmeade? And Lupin invites him in for a cup of tea and isn't looking super awesome. And at one point, Snape brings in a potion.
Right.
And Lupin drinks it, which Harry finds...
Harry is aghast.
Aghast is the word. It is absolutely the word.
He cannot believe that Lupin is dumb enough to drink this, what is obviously poison.
Right. It's smoking!
I was going to say.
Can you not see? You know, they say he'd do anything to get the Defense Against the Dark Arts job.
Really subtle, Harry. That's
I love how hard Lupin has to try to ignore him. Oh, really? Well, time for you to go. I'm almost embarrassed for you, Harry.
Well, they talk, and then Harry asks him about not letting him fight his own boggart, and finds out that it was because Lupin just assumed that it would be Voldemort. Mm-hmm. And is actually impressed when he finds out that that's not who it would have been. It would have been the Dementor. Lupin is like, oh, shit. Okay. Yeah.
And Harry, in turn, is impressed because Lupin says Voldemort.
Right, that's right.
Instead of just saying, he who must not be named.
Right.
So, yeah, they have impressed one another.
Mm-hmm. And this is still early enough in the book. So, Harry doesn't know anything yet about Lupin's past as the Order of the Phoenix or any of that shit yet.
He does not.
And this is, and I didn't either when I was first reading it, but this is the fact that he calls him Voldemort I won't say should have been a giveaway, but it's a neat thing to come back and reread and be like, oh, okay. You know.
Yeah, it's like Harry didn't even know the order existed, so it's not a giveaway to anything because he doesn't have any knowledge of that.
Right. But I mean, as a reader though, being like, oh, look what she's doing. She's already laying some groundwork, you know, for what we're going to find out much later. It's neat stuff that she does.
Right. I know. I am consistently impressed by things. I'm consistently impressed, but also then I start to be like, well, maybe that wasn't on purpose though.
Oh.
I simultaneously want to give her the benefit of the doubt and cannot do it. Like, I have a problem with skepticism that I need to kind of like just be cool. So, yeah, they have that conversation about the boggart, and then finally Harry leaves, and there's this insane illustration of Grindylow.
I was getting ready to say, I know you don't think you're getting ready to skip over that Grindylow.
That thing
demands conversation.
Oh my god, guys. It's like an iguana had sex with a toad, but with the face of like a monkfish or something really awful.
And the hands of a what? Because I don't know what the fuck those are.
Of like, probably the Grinch. The hands of the Grinch.
Okay.
You know, Grinch fingers.
Yeah, that works.
They look like white people dreadlocks.
Oh my god. They do. Oh my god. Why would you say that to me? Oh no.
Oh god, I'm sorry everybody.
Oh no.
I've had some people complain that my laughing is too loud and blows their eardrums out. I'm trying to be conscious of that, but sometimes it just comes out.
Did you see that there is a thing about the Grindylow shit? Did you notice that?
The scat that floats?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I did. Thank you for bringing that up. I was just going to not, but sure, let's do that.
It's too real, book. Too real.
There's like, here's what it looks like, and it basically looks like pond scum or something. Like, you know, anything that you would find in a weird swampy area.
So now there's something you can think about for the rest of your days.
Yep.
It's got a little measuring scale next to it.
Oh my god. They're like, yeah, this is about how long texture is. Nope, not doing it. So.
But it is pretty amazing though. And yeah, all kinds of like stages from the egg. Yeah, it's pretty horrifying. But it's neat.
Not a fan.
Yeah, and turning the page.
Not a fan in that, like, you know, it's just kind of off-putting, but it is beautifully illustrated. Like, this is the stuff I imagine as an illustrator you get stoked.
Oh, God, yeah.
To get to do, right? Like, invent creatures. I wonder if he had to, like, run these by JK, or if it was somebody else that decided.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because these are clearly, you know, stuff that's not... I mean, in the book, it's just a name he tosses out. Mm-hmm. Oh, there's a thing in the tank. It's called a this.
Right.
And then at one point, Harry is like, the thing is like shaking its fist at him.
Oh my god. Yeah, and I'm conscious too of like, when I was still going to school for theater, there was a real sort of effort when we did shows that were famous on video to try our best to not just imitate the performance that we saw in the movie of the whatever play we were doing. Mm-hmm. Which is way harder to do than you think it is, because those performances, if you've seen them enough, are just in your head and you don't even realize you're doing it.
Right.
And I wonder if he saw the movies and like kind of like had to struggle against the preconceived idea of what this looked like from the films.
Yeah.
You know, because I would imagine that would be pretty hard.
I thought the same thing, especially when we were looking at the picture of Snape. You know, I mean, talk about something that's sort of iconic imagery. You know, Alan Rickman is Snape. Like, that's just the facts. So to have to then come and try to reimagine him in a way that is not just you drawing a picture of Alan Rickman, but still capturing what we know Snape is. I was really impressed with the job too, because it didn't look anything like the actor, and yet it looked 100% like Snape to me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just guess in short, what I'm saying is better you than me, buddy. So, they come back from Hogsmeade. Hermione and Ron shower Harry with candies. Tell him candies. How cool it was. Yeah, guilt candy, indeed. And then they go down to the Halloween feast, which is awesome. I want a Halloween feast. Someday, I am going to have the most epic Halloween party you've ever seen. Someday, when I'm rich and famous, I'm going to have, like, basically an unspoiled con on Halloween. and it's going to be amazing. Guys, just stay with me, all right? Just bear with me for like the next decade or so. And I swear to you, I'll make it happen. And there is going to be a Halloween feast. And it's going to be included in your ticket. No individual going to food trucks. No getting coupon ticket things. Do you know what I hate the most is when you go to events and they make you stand in one line for the tickets and then another line to like trade the tickets for food. What demonic force came up with that idea? I'll make them stand in line twice. Why? Why? That is so pointless and rude.
Not everybody knows how to throw a party.
I'm ashamed for them. They have no shame. I'll be ashamed enough for both of us. So they head back to Gryffindor Tower, and this is when they find out that the fat lady has run away, fled the coop. Flown the coop? Yeah, flown the coop. And, of course, Peeves has to be the one to, like, delightedly share this tale of woe.
But then Dumbledore shows up and Peeves calms right the fuck down.
Mm-hmm. Peeves is like, oh, fine, I'll sit straight up and talk without rhyming, I guess. And, yeah, she wouldn't let him in, and he sliced that joint up, but he still didn't get in. So, you know, that's good.
Yeah.
I guess.
That's something.
Yeah. So then the next chapter, Grim Defeat, has probably my favorite illustration so far, even though it's the simplest. I love this really stylized, like, flat color scheme here.
For the
you know
moon?
I mean? Yeah, the whole thing and the way that the text is outlined in gold.
Yeah.
Like the borders of it.
There's
something about this that looks really classical to me.
Yeah, it does. You see at the bottom, there's like a little fox and a little rabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that stuff. So all of the kids are put into the Great Hall and, you know, gossiping amongst themselves because none of the other houses would know what happened. So the Gryffindors have to tell all of them. And Dumbledore has to give everybody squashy purple sleeping bags. And the teachers are filtering in and out, keeping an eye on everything. The prefects are keeping everything in order. Head boy, blah, 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 Percy. And everybody's theorizing on how he could have gotten in. And this is the first time, I think, in the books where we really find out that there's, like, a limited number of options for somebody breaking into Hogwarts.
Right.
There are a lot of magical defenses in place to keep exactly this kind of thing from happening. And,
of course, we find out from Hermione, because she's the only one who's read the book.
Hogwarts, A History. Which, you know, she always, like, cites that book, and I'm like, how have more people not written about Hogwarts? Like, I bet once Hermione graduated that she, like, wrote an updated version that included the Chamber of Secrets and everything. Like, she'd be great for that, you know? Add Harry into the history. The destruction of it from the Battle of Hogwarts and its rebuilding. Like, there's a whole lot more history now.
What does Hermione end up doing? Is it?
Oh, she works for the Ministry in some capacity. I don't remember what. Let me look. I'll check.
I can't believe she didn't become a teacher.
I can't believe Harry didn't become a teacher.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not on board with that life choice, that profession. He became an aura, right?
She found employment with the Ministry of Magic, furthering the cause for the better treatment of house elves before being promoted to the Department of Magical Law Enforcement.
Oh.
Which, I guess?
Well, she was a stickler for the rules, but that doesn't feel right either.
It feels very, like, I don't know, locksteppy for Hermione, but alright, maybe, I don't know. Sure. Listen, the climate nowadays, I'm not getting into it. So, everybody gets in bed, and, they overhear Harry overhears Snape and Dumbledore having a conversation about a concern that Snape came to him with earlier that Snape clearly feels was not taken seriously enough and ought to be looked at again, considering what has happened.
And Dumbledore, true to form, will hear no such questioning of his judgment.
Nope. He's clearly irritated that Severus brought this up again. He's just like...
He's like, I already told you.
I said what I said.
Basically.
And Percy also asks, like, didn't the Dementors want to help search the grounds? And Dumbledore says, oh, yes. But I'm afraid no Dementor will cross the threshold of this castle while I am headmaster. Percy looked slightly abashed. Is it abashed or abashed?
I think it's abashed.
That's what I thought. And for the next few days, this is all anybody wants to talk about, the whole deal. And it's, like, astonishing that this is all anybody wants to talk about, and yet Harry still doesn't know that he's allegedly the man who spilled the secret about his parents. This is the only thing in this book that I really kind of call bullshit on. Because I feel like that would have to be a much more famous secret. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm trying to think. I can't think of any good reason why that wouldn't have come out yet. Everybody knows who Sirius is. Everybody thinks they know what he did. They all seem to have an idea of why he did it, that he was working for Voldemort. So why would that one tidbit no one would talk about? Yeah,
it's like, it's not a big enough deal for me to, like, have a serious problem. Serious problem with it. But it is enough that on the reread, it like, everybody's talking about this guy. And at the very least, I feel like Snape, in his vindictiveness, would have spilled something or said something, if not to Harry, to anybody else. Like, I don't know. There's something about how close to this whole situation people had been. That their utter silence on the subject at this point feels unnatural.
Like, would you think that the Malfoys would be talking about this at home?
Yeah, you know, like...
I mean, they talk about everything else.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, they're supposed to be kind of, like, tight with Snape a little bit. Lupin's working at the school now, and he had been, like, buddies with Sirius, and I feel like that isn't really a secret. Like, it's not... Nobody's trying to keep it secret. There's no reason for the students to know, but that's just the kind of thing I feel like would come out eventually.
Right.
You know? But, whatever. So, then, they have Sir Cadogan guarding Gryffindor Tower. And we have McGonagall, who is taking Harry aside and being like, hey, so you probably shouldn't go to Quidditch. And he's like, what? And she's like, yeah, no, never mind. Take it all back. And then when Harry goes to his next match, he finds out that they're not actually playing Slytherin, who they had been practicing specifically to counter a lot of their, like, known moves.
Because Malfoy is still fucking faking with this bullshit injury. It's got I mean, how long has it been now? Come on.
He is such a baby.
Yeah, and it's all because the weather is so bad, they figure they don't want to risk playing. Which is kind of smart, but I hate it.
Right. Agreed. So they find that out, and Wood starts to freak out because everybody's like, oh, Hufflepuff, no problem. And he's like, you're not taking this seriously. And then when Harry goes to Defense Against the Dark Arts again, he's greeted, unfortunatally, with his least favorite teacher,
God. Wood
for Lupin.
I think it's Wood he's talking to that makes him late.
Yes.
And then the one time he's late, he gets there and Snape is the fucking teacher. Harry can't catch a break.
5 more points from Gryffindor because Harry keeps being like, where is he? What's wrong with him? What's going on? Snape is like, sit the fuck down.
Snape is particularly horrible in this little short passage.
Yeah,
you know, it's not a lot of time we spend in this class, but he's really going at like 100%. 100% dickishness. It's just
100%, you sure?
He takes points from Hermione.
Calls her an insufferable know-it-all.
It's true, though.
I mean...
And then at one point, like, almost the whole class is kind of, like, barking back at him. Like, people were yelling out other things.
Oh, my God.
He doesn't have control of the class right away, which is odd for Snape, you know?
Yes.
And I guess that is a testament to how much everybody really enjoys Lupin teaching the class.
Yeah, definitely.
That they're mad that he's not there. They're kind of protective of him. Because Snape is just being really fucking shady.
He's being shady, and everybody knows that he wants Lupin's job.
Mm-hmm.
So I bet they're all wondering if Lupin isn't just, like, hogtied under the desk. You know, it's just like, oh, you know, he's not feeling well today. And he's like,
meanwhile,
being a little suspicious.
Harry is like, I saw him drink that shit you made.
That too. That too.
Which, so... when we find out at the end of the book that really what Snape has been making for him is tonic or whatever to either keep him from turning or ease his transformations.
Yes.
Why is he so fucking shifty about it the whole time? Is he just... I don't
think he was being shifty in that moment. I think Harry saw him as being shifty because Harry was already suspicious.
I think Snape can't do anything without looking shifty.
I mean, he has to come in and bring him this werewolf tonic without telling anybody that it's werewolf tonic.
Yeah.
For a dude that he does not like at all.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe I wished it... Well, no, because I guess as far as Snape's concerned, they're two unrelated things. Like, him making the tonic does not have anything to do with how much he hates Lupin. It's something he's doing for Dumbledore. So it's unfortunate that he hates Lupin.
One could phrase it that way.
It just makes the giving him the tonic look like shifty all the time because he can't hide his contempt.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, he's like, I have an entire cauldron full of poison. If you would like more poison.
That's exactly what it's like, though. And, like, when the reveal happened at the end, I wanted to be mad. Like, oh, well, that was like a red herring. But she never actually said that he was poisoning him. The shit looked like it was poison.
It's fucking smoking. Yeah. I forgive you. So, in that vein, Snape is insisting that they begin covering werewolves, which everybody is like, that's not where we're at. And Hermione is the most insistent of all. And he's just like, no, bitch, we're doing the thing I said we're doing. You're not the teacher. Sit down. Shut the fuck up.
Yep. Even Hermione is like, we already told you. We haven't gotten there.
Yep. He just cannot be bothered listening to anybody's shit today. He wants them to figure this out, and he will find a way to make it seem like an accident.
This shit is so, like... And we know. We all have read the books at this point. We all know what's up. But, I mean, get it together, man. Get it together. That shit was 40 years ago.
Yeah, he can't let go of shit. That's true.
Oh, man. His whole character is, like, wholly motivated by everything that happened to him in high school. Everything from Lily to James to Lupin to Sirius, all of it. I mean, I get it. You know, I had some rough patches in school, you know. I was never brutally bullied. But I was, as I've talked about this before, you know, I was always new. I did a lot of moving around, so I was the new kid often, and that's never any fun, and it makes you an easy target. But, you know, come on.
Now, see, that's interesting, because I was always jealous of the new kids, because everybody was nice to them out of the gate, because they got a clean slate, and you weren't sure if they were cool from their old school or not.
Oh, no, that was never my experience. But I also probably never presented as cool, whatever that may look like to any particular person.
That's probably what it is. I agree with
you. So...
Love you.
Love you back. Yeah, I was like, there was nothing cool about me when I was in school. So yeah, that new kid mystique that you see in the movie sometimes.
So Harry is. Do you hear that?
That's your cat.
That's Owen.
Oh my god!
He's playing a video game with Brent and Harsh, and he's like making this weird sort of like foghorn sound. I
thought it was your cat again.
Holy shit. So this class doesn't feel great. Everybody's cranky when they get out of it, and Ron lands himself in detention. And then the next day, Harry has to get up early for Quidditch, and Crookshanks is trying to get into his room again, the dorm room, and he's like, you know what? There is something weird about you, you fucking cat. There's a bunch of animals you could be chasing right now. Mm-hmm. What are you doing in here? Come on.
And then never thinks of it again.
Right, yeah. Crookshanks will not be denied. And the illustration of the werewolf makes me incredibly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
No, this one I'm not on board with.
And
you know what it is that this werewolf looks a lot like the werewolf from the movie, which was terrible.
I was ready to say the same exact thing. Is that he did what they did in the movie, which I'm not a fan of.
It makes him look vaguely like reptilian or something. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is, but there's
the snout and all looks almost like a dragon.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't care for it.
So the Quidditch match is waterlogged. Harry is doing okay and looks like he's gonna get the snitch. And all of a sudden gets covered in cold and hears the screaming. And in addition, he gets some nice Technicolor here. Some extra dialogue of somebody begging and someone saying, "Stand aside, you silly girl." And faints and apparently falls off his broom because when he comes to, he hears everybody talking about how fucking scary that was.
Yeah.
And it turns out, like, when he looks down, it says at least 100 Dementors. 100!
Yeah.
Their faces, their hidden faces pointing up at him, were standing below. It was as though freezing water was rising in his chest, cutting at his insides. 100.
Yeah. Which I thought there were some pretty firm rules in place about that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to know who's in charge here.
Right.
I kind of want to speak to a manager.
This is something like, I feel like Hagrid says later at some point that probably all of the emotions running high at the game drew them because it's like a feast because they feed off of like positive energy.
Mm-hmm.
And Dumbledore was clearly pissed off at this because I think Hermione says that she's never seen him so angry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that at this point?
Yeah, it's like right
the
second to last page of the chapter. And she says, "I'd never seen him like that before. He ran onto the pitch." Dumbledore is what kept Harry from slamming right into the ground.
Right.
And she says he shot silver stuff, which is poor wording.
God. RoShawn.
Well, that's what it says.
I hate you.
Then he whirled his wand and shot silver stuff at them.
Shot silver stuff at them. They left the stadium straight away.
I would too.
Oh, everyone, welcome to the show. We are 11 and 12 years old. I'm not sure we're supposed to be podcasting, but here we are. So Harry then is like, well, did we win the match? And they're like, about that.
Yeah.
No.
And if you think that's bad.
Like, and what gets me about that is that Cedric is such a good-hearted kid that when he realized what happened, he tries to, like, take it back.
Yeah.
He's like, I caught this net. Oh, no, never mind. No, I didn't catch it. What? And they're like, look, we see, it's in your hand, buddy. He's like, ugh. And because he fell off his broom, that shit went wild. And
flew into the worst possible place it could fly.
Worst place.
Like, it couldn't just, like, land, you know, it could have landed in the stands. It could have banged up against the castle walls. Nope.
Yeah. It hits the Whomping Willow, which...
That shit hit it right back.
Indeed. That is the most succinct way of putting it, I suppose. Yeah, that fucking tree beats the shit out of this piece of tree.
It's tree on tree crime.
What about tree on tree crime? This never gets the attention it deserves. The biased media. The tree-hugging media. Oh, God. I'm sorry, everyone. And they have, like, all of the splinters that they gathered up and pour into Harry's lap. And even though he knows that it's, like, useless, we find out later that he, like, couldn't get rid of these pieces. Because they're precious. They're part of a precious thing to him.
Oh,
it's like holding on to somebody's ashes.
Yeah, it's like, I understand why they would do that, but also it's kind of cruel. Like, he's lying in the hospital bed, he's all banged up, and they're just like, here's the trash that used to be your broomstick. And just dump it out on him.
Oh my God. So that's the end of the chapter, everyone. Yeah, this is like, it's so funny because, like, you feel so bad in this section because everything's going really poorly for Harry, but, like, in comparison to what happens later,
oh my
it's
God,
all such petty stuff,
right? It's like,
you know,
you can just laugh at it all because it's nothing. It's nothing right now. Yeah.
Oh God.
Laugh while you can, folks.
All right. Well, I basically, like, did all my announcements at the beginning of the show.
You sure did.
So I don't really need to get into all that now. Is there anything that you wanted to plug?
I would just say to anybody, we have our new book coming out. I say we in the royal way, not that I actually did any work on the book. It is called Urban Styles. It's about graffiti and hardcore in New York in the 80s, and it's really cool. My husband and his partner put it out, and you can get it at dwulf.com. It's DIWULF.com.
Yeah, when you, like, said that on the last episode, and then I saw the link that you gave to Krista, I was like, oh, that is not spelled anything like I would have spelled it. So I posted that in the show notes last week.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. We're going to the book launch tomorrow, which is why you and I are recording on this fine Thursday. So I'm pretty excited about it. Nervous, but excited.
Well, tell Steve good luck.
I will. Thank you.
And good luck to you, too.
Thank you.
Because you know.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Well, we love you so much. Thank you all so much for listening, for all of your support. I've been getting more and more tweets from people lately.
Yay.
Which is always really nice. It's just, you know, I somebody tweeted me the other day, and they were like, I just finished the Harry Potter coverage and literally want to die.
Oh my God.
I was like, try Dresden Files. Which I really do want to recommend to all of you guys. Like, I know a lot of you are probably bummed out because you really cannot become a patron for whatever reason, which I do understand. If you really just want another show that's fun, that will cheer you up, that is me and RoShawn, Dresden Files is what you want. And if you haven't read those books already, I highly recommend them.
Yeah, they've been a ton of fun reading. I'm really enjoying them.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Owen's texting me because he's like, we're going to the movie, right?
Oh my God,
hey,
Owen.
Chill out.
How are you going to the movies at 11 o'clock at night? You guys are crazy.
We don't go to bed till like 2 a.m. I'm telling you. But you wake up at like 6 in the morning. I don't do that. You have a real job like a grown-up.
Yeah, like a grown-up.
kind of like one. I hear. From what I hear, it's what it's like, right?
I'm grown
and
up.
I think do you have a briefcase? do you take a fiber supplement? Do you eat bran muffins in the morning? I figure that's what it's like. Meanwhile, I have my elaborate tea tray with my teapot and shit. I'm so fucking extra. It's so stupid. Which you guys can all see if you follow my Instagram. But yeah, Dresden Files, it's really fun. The audiobooks are awesome, and they're narrated by James Marsters, who played Spike on Buffy, and he's pretty great. The first couple books are a little bit rougher than the later ones. And just, if y'all are looking for something that is about magic, that is fun, that's geared slightly more for adults and has more complex storylines, but is still, like, scratching that magical itch. That sounds really wrong.
God.
But... You know what I mean?
That sounds like something you get after you shoot a bunch of silver stuff.
But it's like it's a good option because I think if people haven't read it already, they get extra content because they have to consume the audiobooks or the paper books before they can even listen to the episodes.
Right.
So that'll hold you over for a while, guys. So yeah, check out the Dresden Files feed. We are nearing the middle of book 4. And it was an option between like taking a break from the Harry Potter reread or taking a break from Dresden Files to do Westworld. And I really did not want to take a break from Dresden Files because we're finally getting into that. And that book series, first of all, is so great. I just don't want to take a break. And secondly, has so much happening that if we took that long a break and came back to it, there's a good chance Rashawn would be like, who is this guy again?
Yeah,
like, that's Harry Dresden, the guy that books are about.
I wouldn't want to take a break in the middle of a first read of something, you know. I wouldn't do that. Plus, I would be really annoyed because I want to, like, get to the story.
Right, exactly.
So, I'm saddened that I can't, you know, do the 3 nights that we have to, like, put Harry Potter kind of on the shelf for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really, really excited about Westworld. And I would not have wanted to stop doing Dresden. So we really didn't have any other choice.
Yes.
But we'll be back. It's not like, you know, Harry Potter's going forever or nothing.
No, it is not going forever unless you're not a patron, in which case it is. Dun, dun. I need to get like the LA Law sound in there. So thank you to Larry Jade, Crafty Ass from Canada. Larry Jade is from Australia, and Bridget B34 from the US, who all left reviews this week. I have to go because I'm going to see a movie, so I can't read all of your reviews, and a couple of them are rather long. But I want you to know that I saw them, and I did read them, and you're awesome, and thank you so much. And it was really kind and made me happy to read these. So y'all are great. And I think that's everything. You ready to wrap up?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, everyone. Well, we love you, and we will see you next week with 2 more chapters of Azkaban. Toodaloo, motherfuckers.
Bye, guys.
That was an Unspoiled Network podcast.